doctor let me know that I had cracked my third rib over top of my lung. That's why it was hard for me to take a deep breath. They wanted me to start a work comp case. I told them that I didn't mind, but if I started it, that meant that I would have to be off for this like lengthy amount of time. And within that time, I would be off with no pay at all. Instead of them just listening to the doctor's note that I had gave them maybe 2 weeks prior, a week prior. Yeah, I think it was like a week prior too, because I had went into the physical. Maybe 2 weeks later, we were going on break when they just kept, for some reason, they just kept switching out breaks like every 30 days. Those first 3 months of COVID, they switched out breaks so much that there was no way to know when we was going on break. One of the front half managers had announced that we were doing a new break that week, that break time would be 10 o'clock to 10:30. That's when we started the 10 to 10:30 break. When they announced at, I'm going to say like 9:50, that break was 10 o'clock, the group of new hires that we had on the wall flew past me, and I was like exhausted from just working, that like I was moving slow like a turtle up them steps, but they flew past me that I wound up hitting like the ends of the ramps, and when I hit it, I could feel it. Like I could feel the weakness of my rib, because to take a deep breath was unbearable. I went to AmCare that same night. AmCare sent me home, told me that I needed to come back with a doctor's note. I went to the doctor's that next morning. My doctor let me know that I had cracked my third rib over top of my lung. That's why it was hard for me to take a deep breath. And that he had told me 2 weeks previous that the calcium within my bones was just taking a hit, because I wasn't sleeping. I was eating, but I wasn't really, I guess, eating properly. And then in the midst of that, like when I would be off on those Sundays and Mondays, I would want to party with my family. So like I really wasn't sleeping. And then I had things to do on Monday for my daughter to prepare her for the week. So like, you don't realize that not sleeping breaks down your body in ways that you don't see. But realistically, working that much, traveling that much to get to work, to get home, and then still having a full life to live outside of the job, it mentally break you down. And then physically, you wear down ligaments that you didn't even know. And then there's no way to fix them. Like, there's so many people at Amazon that have to wear compression socks because their calves, the ligaments in their calves are fucked. They say they want us to be comfortable, but the amount of hours that you work and the amount of hours that you travel, you're not comfortable, because you stand in 10, 12 hours at Amazon, you're also standing another 2, 3 hours to get home if you take public transportation. You know, if you got kids, you stand in another 45 minutes after you get home, because you got to get your kids up. You got to check homework. You got to get them to school. Or if you got another job, God bless your heart, outside of Amazon, like, you're taking the travel to work, not to go home, but to go to another job, then to travel home, then to travel. Like, you get no rest there. And if you do, you're lucky. I know that I don't. I can speak for me. I've seen 3 people pass out at the job. One person, I was upstairs in singles. The young guy was coming around to get some boxes and just dropped. Like, Who knows for what reason, but it was also during peak. The amount of hours that we work during peak or just at any given week, if you need a paycheck to stay afloat, would exhaust a regular person, especially if you catch the bus. Like, I'm working 56 hours. But within those 56 hours that I'm working, I'm maybe only actually getting 8 hours of sleep. That's 2 hours, maybe 3 hours per day. And I'm working 5 days a week. I'm also coming home, getting my daughter up for school, picking her up from school. So I'm only getting that amount of sleep from the time that I drop her off till I pick her up. And in between that, I'm not even really asleep because I gotta do things around my house. I gotta go do things for my daughter during the day. The time that you really need to shut your body down, to mentally shut down, you really don't get. Working at Amazon would be easier to do if we was on a 2 week pay. Being on a weekly pay, I gotta try to make even what I'm used to making to stay afloat. Cause barely can make it. And that's the sucky part.